All right, we're going to continue with solving two-step equations, and now we just have a different type. So I'm giving you plenty of examples, that way we can see all the different ways that we can solve these equations. Now if we look at these compared to our previous ones, what do we have this time around? Well, we have parentheses, so that's why we're going to have to deal with these just a little bit different. So we have two options that we're going to use, and it does not matter which one you end up using in the end. As long as you do it correctly, you'll still get the same answer. So if we look at this 3, what is that property called where we multiply that out? Well, that's the distributive property. So that's option number 1. We can use the distributive property to simplify the parentheses. So if we do 3 times x, we would get 3x. And then 3 times negative 2 would give us a negative 6. So minus 6, and then equals 15. Well, then from there, that looks really familiar because that's what we were just doing in our other notes. So now we just continue to solve using inverse operations. So here we're isolating 3x, so that means we need to add 6 on both sides. So then now we have 3x equals 15 plus 6 is 21. And then last step, since we're multiplying, the inverse is dividing, so we divide both sides by 3. So x equals 21 divided by 3 is 7. So that's option number 1. We use the distributive property. Now option number 2, this is a new method we could use. Sometimes it can save some time. So we're still going to use our inverse operations to eliminate so we can solve for our variable. Now in this case, what is the coefficient of this whole group? Remember, these are being multiplied together even though it's not written, so 3 is the coefficient of that group. Well, this operation, even though it's not written, is multiplication, so the inverse of multiplication is division. So in this case, we are going to divide both sides of the equation by that coefficient, which in this case is 3. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come over here. We're going to divide the whole thing. So I'm going to put a big fraction bar and then 3. And we're going to do that on both sides. Well, now we can see 3 divided by 3, well, that cancels to be 1. So they cancel out and they're gone. Now we're left with x minus 2 equals, and then 15 divided by 3, which is 5. Well, now this is just a one-step equation that we can solve. The inverse operation, we would need to add 2 on both sides. And so then we would have x equals 5 plus 2, which is 7. So x equals 7. So you can see we got the same answer for both, just using different methods. It does not matter to me which option you choose as long as you're solving your equation correctly. So you should still get the same answer in the end. Now if you notice, on option 1 this particular time, we actually had to do 3 steps to get our answer. Because first we had to distribute, so that was 1 step. Then we had to add 6, that was 2 steps. And then we had to divide by 3, so that was 3 steps. Well, if we look at option 2 for this particular one, well, we divided by 3, so that was 1 step. And then we added 2, that was 2 steps, and we were done. So sometimes one method can be faster than the other. You might be able to pick up on that right away, but if not, it doesn't matter. You can just go with the one that you are most comfortable with. So if you are feeling comfortable with these problems, you can go ahead and pause this video and give them a try. If you're not feeling quite comfortable yet, you can keep watching and following along, and if at one point you want to start trying them on your own, you can pause it, solve a few, try one out, and then check. All right, so on number 19, I am going to choose to do option 2 first, so that's what we're going to do. So in that case, we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient of the group. In this case, it is a negative 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. I can see those negative 2's cancel, so I'm left with s plus 10, and then equals negative 12 divided by negative 2 is a positive 6. And then from here, isolating s, we need to subtract 10 on both sides. Now we have S equals 6 minus 10 is negative 4. So S equals negative 4. On our next problem here, I'm going to choose to use the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute that negative 1/2. Well, if we think about this, a negative times a positive, we know we're going to have a negative answer. Well, 1/2 of 4 is 2. So we have negative 2t. Now we have a negative 1/2 times a negative 10. So that's going to be a positive. And then 1/2 of 10 is 5. So we have negative 2t plus 5 equals negative 27. Now we need to isolate negative 2t. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. So now we have negative 2t equals negative 27 minus 5 is negative 32. And then last but not least, divide both sides by negative 2. So then we have a negative divided by a negative. So that means we have a positive, and then it goes in 16 times. So t equals 16. Okay, number 21. You can choose either option. I think for this one, I'm going to go with option number 1, but you could do option 2. So if I do that, distribute, I would get negative 10u and then plus 35, because I did 5 times 7, then equals 25.